I'd like to begin with a quote from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel from his important work, God in Search of Man. He wrote, "Irrefutably, indestructibly, never wearied by time, the Bible wanders through the ages, giving itself with ease to all men and women, as if it belonged to every soul on earth. It speaks in every language and in every age. It benefits all the arts and does not compete with them. We all draw upon it, and it remains pure, inexhaustible, and complete. In 3,000 years, it has not aged a day. It is a book that cannot die. Oblivion shuns its pages. Its power is not subsiding. In fact, it is still at the very beginning of its career, the full meaning of its content having hardly touched the threshold of our minds. Like an ocean, at the bottom of which countless pearls lie, waiting to be discovered, its spirit is still to be unfolded. Though its words seem plain and its idiom translucent, unnoticed meanings, undreamed of intimations break forth constantly. More than 2,000 years of reading and research have not succeeded in exploring its full meaning." From the perspective of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, the Torah is so rich in hidden meaning that it has the capacity to engage with myriad Jews across the generations from incalculable perspectives. Now, some aspects of the Torah seem to speak to everyone in every generation. Who is not moved when an aggrieved Joseph first reveals himself to his duplicitous brothers and then chooses to wholeheartedly forgive them? Who is not inspired by the emphasis upon justice and righteousness in the Torah? Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue, we read in Deuteronomy 16:20. Can anything match the exquisite love poetry of the Song of Songs? Ani l'dodi, v'dodi li. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. And yet other aspects of the Torah may have less to say to the generation in which we live today. Take the installation of the priests in this week's Torah portion, Ttzaveh, for example. In Exodus 29:20, Moses is instructed to slaughter a lamb as an ordination ceremony for Aaron and his sons. We read, "Slaughter the ram and take some of its blood and put it on the ridge of Aaron's right ear, and on the ridges of his sons' right ears, and on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet." I'm not going to lie to you. The first time I read that, I think I was about probably 11 or 12 years old, I thought it was a little strange. And it is a little strange to us in this generation. You have to ask yourself, what's up with the ear and the thumb and the big toe? Why the right side? What's with all the blood? The Jewish philosopher Philo of Alexandria was of the opinion that the ear, the thumb, and the big toe were all symbolic for very important aspects of the priesthood. He said this signifies that the perfect person must be pure in every word and action as a whole. How did he come up with that? Well, regarding the ear, Philo said, a person's hearing is what judges his or her words. In other words, a Kohen, a rabbi, or anyone really, must listen to people. I don't know if I ever told you about the difference in conversations at my family's house and at the house of one of my closest friends. In the Rosenberg house, we always had boisterous conversations. We all talked loudly, and we all talked at the same time. It wasn't exactly polite, but it was fun, and we were comfortable in that environment, all of us. In my friend's house, everyone talked quietly at the dinner table and spent their time trying to come up with good questions to ask each other. The first time that my friend had dinner with my boisterous family, I think she had culture shock, as I did when I had dinner with her more genteel family. The Rosenbergs might have more fun at dinner, but my friend's family were in fact better listeners. Philo would have appreciated their ability to ask questions and to listen, as qualities the high priest would be wise to emulate. In fact, my friend's family happened to be descendants of the Kohens. As for the thumb, Philo said, the hands are the symbols of action. In other words, Moses daubs the hands of Aaron and his sons with blood to symbolize that the Kohen, the priest, must actually act and do things on behalf of the people. Pirkei Avot 6:6 teaches that when it comes to Torah, our goal must be v'halomed al manat la'asot, that is, to learn in order to do. The priests are not meant to be scholars in an ivory tower or elite aristocrats lording over the peons of society. They were meant to be down with the people, serving the people with their very hands. My father likes to tell a story about a time he came to the synagogue. He's also a rabbi, and he came to the synagogue to lead high holiday services. And when he got there, the toilet was clogged. So before Kol Nidre, he had to take off his robes and his talit, and he had to plunge the synagogue toilet. It's a terrible story, but it's endearing in some regards because it shows that he's not one to put himself above anyone else. There was something that had to be done, and he was going to be the first person to get the job done. Philo would have said that the high priest could learn from the story about my father and the plunger that when push comes to shove, no pun intended, one must not be afraid to get their hands dirty for the benefit of the people. Now that we know how Philo interpreted the blotting of the blood on the ear and the thumb, what do you suppose he had to say about the big toe? Any guesses? What was that? What was that? You have to walk with people. Well, that's actually pretty close. According to Philo, the foot symbolizes the way that a person walks through life. Do we walk with a spring in our step, or do we walk with all of our burdens on our shoulders? The way that we carry ourselves and the people with whom we carry ourselves, that reflects our attitude about what we're doing. And where is it that we're walking anyway? Are we pursuing justice and peace, or are we headed in another direction? Philo would have said that the very way that a priest walks is an opportunity for him to model for the community what it means to serve God with every step that you take. In conclusion, I hope it is clear why I chose to begin with the inspiring words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel about the boundless meaning sometimes hidden in the words of Torah. I tend to agree with Philo of Alexandria that everything in the Torah has hidden meaning and symbolic significance. There certainly are a number of lessons to be drawn from a single verse from this week's Torah portion. When we read about the anointing of the priest, just as the ear of the priest was anointed, so may we always be good listeners to those who need us. Just as the thumb of the priest was anointed, so may we always put our knowledge into action. And just as the big toe of the priest was anointed, so may we always remember the value of carrying ourselves in good faith. Shabbat Shalom.